We are outside of PPE headquarters here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, as you can see, I brought the truck, but I've also got a trailer on the back of it. And yes, I am towing, and there will be a full towing video in the near future on this. But for right now, we're here because I've been talking about a catch can that PPE has been working on for quite a while, and we've been invited to go ahead and take a look at it. They have an early prototype here that is installed on another vehicle, so we're going to get to see that, but we're also invited inside to take a look at a new catch can, which we get to take apart and see the internals of it, so that way we can see how this actually works and why it would be a benefit to our engines. Now, I'm sure everyone's aware that these 3.0 Duramax diesels have been consuming some oil. It's definitely a big scare. But let me tell you, one way that you can stop that from actually getting burned and going into your DPF is by having a catch can installed, which will effectively catch the oil vapor and get it into a can so you're not actually shoving it through your intake. Now, if you haven't seen my video, I pulled off my charge air cooler on the previous truck and I actually dumped out the oil on there. And there was quite a bit of oil inside, and that's what really raised an eyebrow right there, that we needed something different. So anyway, I'll stop babbling and let's go in and check out this new catch can. So before we see the actual catch can installed on the vehicle, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the internals of it. Now, this started off as a Man and Hummel unit, and from what I was told, they had to test multiple variations of the internals of this, and what the final result was, as you see right here, this is a removable internal media, and it's a superfine steel mesh screen which effectively traps oil and hydrocarbon vapor. Now, I said that they had to test multiple variations of this because there's actually paper variations which would clog up, and I know a bunch of people tested some catch cans before, and I believe they were similar style like this, and they weren't able to do it because it throws a check engine light. So that's where PPE came in here, and they've got this figured out to where that the flow is proper through the stainless steel mesh, and this is super fine, so it's going to trap the oil. What we also got shown was they were working on one for a 3.0 ECODIESEL as well. So this one is on a truck, and we were able to disassemble this, and you can see actually the oil buildup in there. You can see the oil inside the can. And you can see that it actually captures quite a bit, which is a huge deal. Looking in the internals of the oil separator, it also has a built-in overpressure relief valve and a check valve to prevent engine runaway. Now, if you're not familiar, engine runaway is something that happens on diesels where they start to actually consume their own oil, and they'll just continue running until they explode. So in this case, the way that our 3.0 Duramax diesel is designed is the oil vapor will come from the valve cover and go straight into the turbocharger. So with this catch can in between that, there's this valve in there, so if it increases to a certain amount of pressure, that valve is actually going to shut off, and you're not going to be able to have any oil entering the turbocharger, which would effectively prevent the engine runaway. The internal filter media is serviceable, and you can just unscrew the cap and remove this, but there is really no reason to do that, so this is effectively a lifetime setup here. But now what you're wondering is, how do I drain this? And we're going to go out to the actual prototype vehicle right now, and I'll show you. So looking at the prototype installation here, we'll go to the drain first since I just brought that up. But the drain is easy access down here right behind the rear or the front bumper. And you can cut this to any length that you want. You can mount it anywhere you want. So that way it's just super handy whenever you're doing an oil change. You can also just drain this right there. Taking a look at the hoses here, you can see that there's multiple diameters of hose in use. Now, it's going to be a one-piece hose that actually changes diameter. So it's going to start off small when it's coming off the valve cover assembly, going into the catch can itself. And by the time it gets to the catch can, it's actually going to be a much larger diameter hose. And I believe it's going to be close to a 1-inch hose. Now, coming out of it, there's going to be a 1-inch diameter hose as well. And that's going to go into a 180-degree turn right there, or a bend. That way it goes back into the turbocharger just like factory. Now you're wondering why there's multiple diameter hoses, and there's reasoning behind that. By using the larger than stock diameter, it's effectively slowing down the vapor mixture, allowing more time to condense and separate the oil particles from the vapor mixture. So what this is doing is basically the oil is able to drop out of the vapors, which is allowing the catch can to capture more. And then the different size, so you have the smaller size hoses, so that way it just taps right into the factory fitting, so you're not doing any modifications at all. Everything is reversible if you ever wanted to, and super easy plug and play setup on this. There's going to be no drilling required. 304 stainless steel brackets will be used for the actual catch can assembly, as well as securing the hoses, so that way they're not rubbing on anything and they're not vibrating. I'm liking where this is going. I could see a lot of potential from this. The mesh screen itself, internal, is a huge deal for me. I think that's going to really capture everything, and if it breathes as well as they say, then and not set any check engine lights, then I think this is a huge win, because that fine steel mesh, it does look like it's going to capture a lot. I mean, we saw that how much it captured with just that 3.0 ECODIESEL, and there was a bunch in that can itself as well on that screen mesh. So let me know what you think of this new catch can that's coming out. Again, it's not a completed unit. This is just a very, very early prototype. The one-piece hoses are said to be completed in the very near future. And yes, I do have my name down on getting one of these, and definitely going to test it, as I test every single product that gets made for these 3.0 diesels. And yeah, let me know what you think.